Oh, hi there, shipmates. Johnny Ray back again. This video I'm dedicating to sheet bends and Beckett hitches. Basically, these are the ideal knots to use to secure two lines of unequal diameter, or to secure two lines together for that matter, or to secure a line to an eye. Basically, I will start with the first variant of the sheet bend or Beckett hitch, which you start by making a bite, and this would be the line that you'd have that's either secured to something, or the line that's basically the dead line. The one that you want to reef on and pull from this direction would be your thinner line, or the one that you're going to start bearing the load from. So here you start with a simple bite. You take your second line, you pass it up underneath through the bite, you pass it around both the standing part and the bitter end, and then you pass it underneath itself like this. You can tell it's secured properly because it looks like a bowline or a life preserver, if you can see from this way, on the back side. Now, the number one rule of thumb with anything, you should leave at least a tail the width of your palm in line this time. This is 3/8 inch nylon. You do not want to have less than 4 inches of tail on any knot, really, unless it's very small diameter, but proportional. So this is your basic sheet bend. This is not to be confused with what they call left-handed, which I take offense to. I'm a southpaw myself. Sheet bend, where they'll actually take it and they'll pass it around the opposite direction. And you can tell you've tied this one because both tails are on opposite sides of the line. The problem with this one's cost a lot of lives because it basically will work itself free. It's very dangerous. So, again, the correct way to tie a sheet bend is around the outside, up through inside. If you keep the tail outboard on the eye, keep both your tails outboard away from you. This is the best way to remember this. But make sure that both tails are on the same side of the line. This one is very strong and it won't work its way free. Now, I'll go into a couple of variations here. So it starts as a normal one. This is called a slippery sheet bend. You pass it around. You leave a little bit longer tail this time. What you do is you just pass the bite underneath like that, and this gives you a very strong slippery sheet bend. Now, if you're going to be, this allows it to be untied very quickly. You just give a yank on the bitter end and a little capsize. Now, if you want to make this a little bit more secure, say if you're going to lift a load with it, for safety, I like to take the tail and tuck it up through the eye like that. And you don't want it too tight, but you want it so it's not going to come loose. So again, that one, all you have to do to untie it is just give a quick yank to that and it just comes free. Now, the third variant is the one I use, called a double Beckett hitch or double sheet bend. This is what we used on lobster fisheries to secure our traps to our buoy lines to traps, actually. So you start with a little bit longer tail, same as the previous one. Pass it around, and you pass it through a second time. This is very strong, and it won't work its way free. The other one I have had come free before. So this is the correct not to use. If you're going to be using this anywhere where it really matters, you're going to be putting it under a heavy load or anywhere where somebody's life's at stake, that's the one you want to use right there, the double version of this knot. So as you see, the nice thing about it is, especially the single one, just like a bowline to capsize it, you just peel it apart like that, and it is fairly easy to untie, very easy to tie. So, I mentioned that, whoops, you can use it on two ropes or a line of unequal diameter. So here I've got a piece of 1/2 inch, that might even be 5/8 nylon twisted rope here. You take it around. Now the problem with this one, the books all show you using a single sheet bend to hold that. And as long as it's under strain, it's not too bad, but the problem is it can work its way free really easily, especially if the rope's very stiff like this one. It's quite a hard laid rope. So what you do is you take this one with a longer tail, you pass it around twice, and you tie it off as a double sheet bend or double Beckett hitch. And that one, as you can see, is not going anywhere. Very, very solid. But again, make sure that both tails are on the same side of the rope, both facing outboard when you tie it. The third advantage with this one, as I had mentioned, is tying it off to an eye splice. It works very well. You can sometimes get away with a single. And this is a piece of eye spliced manila. That's not too bad, but again, it can work its way free. Which is, if you're doing anything load bearing or anything serious, you want to ebb on the side of safety. So you want to pass it around twice. And this is the very knot we use to secure our buoy lines to our lobster traps. Because it's so strong, and it works really well to an eye splice, which is the harnesses on a lobster trap or eye splice. But as you see, it's very solid. That is not going anywhere. So if you need to secure two lines together of unequal diameter, or you want to tie off to an eye, this is the ideal knot, and I highly recommend using the double Beckett hitch as opposed to the single versions of this knot, as for safety reasons it's a lot more secure. I want to thank you once again. I wish you all a pleasant voyage, a mermaid in every port, and calm seas. Have a good day.